I have on my right and left very distinguished individuals, and it's a matter of great pride for me to be part of this panel, and my heartfelt gratitude to IRS and the Beacon House Center for Policy and Research. With regard to the peace building in South Asia, Pakistan has always been desirous of peace. Pakistan has always contributed towards peace building in this region. The deterioration that we see in this region is directly proportional to the rise of fundamentalism and extremism in India. The way the Hindutva ideology has gained traction and is being propagated in the power corridors, that is the gravest threat that has been posed to this region. And as I said, Pakistan, being desirous of peace, has also proven that if an unprovoked, unjustified war is imposed upon Pakistan, we have the capability, we have the potential to respond back effectively. And I think the deterrence that we have created in this region has contributed to maintaining peace. Otherwise, this false notion of rising India or shining India, which was being portrayed all over the world. And let me allow to say that India had assumed the position of a bully in this region. The way there has been a surge in terrorism in Pakistan over the past few years, we have credible evidence that this terrorism is not only foreign funded, but India has a big role to play in creating disruption and creating law and order situation in our provinces. When the Pahalgam incident happened, and on the narrative front, we were faced with a challenge. The biggest argument that we had in our favor was the fact that Pakistan is the biggest victim of terrorism. So how can a nation which is actually facing terrorism, and I often say, and whenever I was invited to appear on international media, my argument was always that name any other country which has laid down 90,000 lives in the war against terrorism. And Pakistan, in fact, is a shield or a wall between terrorists and the rest of the world. So when one Pakistani citizen lays down his or her life in this war against terrorism, yes, it is for the safety and security of Pakistan, but it is also to make the world a safer place. And I would take this beyond South Asia, because had it not been for the sacrifices that our armed forces, our civilians, our law enforcement agencies, our citizens, our children have made in this war, which is a Indian-funded terrorism that has been imposed upon us, then these terrorists would have been loitering the streets of major capitals of the world. So when baseless allegations were leveled against Pakistan, and it was alleged that Pakistan was responsible for the Pahalgam incident, so I think we made our point that how can a nation which is suffering even today at the hands of these terrorists sponsor such acts? And we are facing these incidents every other day. One incident happened in India, and they started leveling baseless allegations. I think it was a diplomatic masterstroke when the Prime Minister, speaking at Kakul, offered an investigation into the Pahalgam incident. And instead of responding to that demand of an impartial and fair investigation, India's war hysteria, India's warmongering actually increased. But I am very happy and proud that our allies and countries which had a say in this whole crisis stood by Pakistan for the reason that we played our diplomatic cards really well. And we saw that based on our narrative, questions were asked in India, and they continue to be asked. And I think Narendra Modi has never been on a weaker footing than he is now. Because the civil society in India, the media, the intelligentsia, the opposition members alike are all questioning his policies. That without going into an investigation into an incident, they resorted to aggression, killing innocent civilians in Pakistan. And right after Pahalgam, I had taken a group of journalists to a place in Kashmir known as Bela Noor Shah, where it was alleged by the Indian media that they were terrorist camps, and we showed them around that life was going on as usual. And we had friends from international media actually showing what a peaceful place that is. And these allegations are absolutely baseless and fabricated. And the night that India attacked Pakistan, the next day, we had planned to take journalists to Muridke and Bahawalpur to dispel this impression that there are terrorist camps in Muridke, Bahawalpur. And the day we were supposed to travel, the night before, India resorted to these attacks. So I think on the narrative front, on the diplomatic front, being desirous of peace, we also established that our desire for peace must not and should not be mistaken for our weakness. And this desire for peace was mistaken by India as a weakness, but I think the response given by our armed forces, our valiant soldiers, has proven our military might to India, that we are capable of giving a befitting response to any unprovoked aggression. And the whole idea before Pahalgam was to weaponize water. And legally speaking, if you want to disrupt peace, you will always interfere with an international treaty. And Amir Bilal Sufi Sahib is sitting here. How is it possible that a treaty, which is a legally binding document, be suspended or be held in abeyance unilaterally without the consent of the other party? So I think at the back of their mind, they wanted to weaponize water. And I think Pakistan very rightly and very timely held the National Security Council meeting and made it very clear that water is our lifeline, and we will make no compromise, and any attempt to subvert or hinder the flow of water will be responded to decisively. So I think that was a very loud and clear message that this natural resource, which is a right of our 240 million people, cannot be violated. So I think India opened up many fronts, because the false notion and the false glorification of this rising India, they actually believed in it. And in fact, this notion, this false notion, had very shaky foundations, and when put to the test through legal means, through diplomatic means, through military means, and through narrative means, the whole premise of this false notion of rising India fell flat on its face. So I think even now, when we talk about the post-war scenario, we say that we are desirous of peace, but that should be based on reciprocity. And that should be based on resolution of all disputes, including Kashmir. And I think one thing which is a very positive outcome of this whole scenario has been that the Kashmir issue has now once again been highlighted. And you have seen at various occasions, President Donald Trump has directly mentioned the Kashmir dispute as a disputed area which needs resolution. And India cannot usurp the rights of the innocent Kashmiris. And there has to be respect for the UN resolutions, the UN Security Council resolutions in this regard. So I think for maintenance of peace in this region, Pakistan has always played its role. Pakistan will continue to play its role. And this recent escalation has proven to the world that we as a nation can not only respond to unprovoked aggression, but when it comes to diplomatic means, we have the skill, we have the capability of proving our point to the world. And points well taken. I was hearing speeches of honorable members of this panel. Yes, there is room for improvement. And I would request Ambassador Johar Salim, if a paper could be published right after the session in which you could give recommendations to the government, and I will be sure to pass this on to the Deputy Prime Minister, to the concerned divisions and ministries, so that this session can be productive and we can actually take something out of this and act upon those recommendations which are passed on to us by this esteemed panel. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I'm very grateful to the honorable member sitting here. And I assure you on behalf of the government of Pakistan that whatever recommendations are given by this panel, we will do our best to act upon them. And may peace always prevail in this region, and may Pakistan always prosper. Pakistan Zindabad.